Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Decoding Business Structures and Licensing. We're going to wait just a couple minutes to see if some more people pop on. If you want to just introduce yourself in the chat on the right-hand side, just put your name and where you're from. It would be great to kind of see who's joining us. And we'll wait just a minute here. Looks like we have Randy with us today. Welcome, Randy. My name is Jess Hershey. I'm the media manager for the Mogul Mom. I'm not Megan Barnes, that it says I am. Megan is sick today, so I am filling in for her. And I'm here with Nellie Akelp, and I'm going to introduce her in just a moment. Let's see. So this month at the Mogul Mom was a February theme of a healthy business, a healthy you. This is something that we feel is very important. At the Mogul Mom, we try to check in regularly with the health of our business and, our personal health that really affects the health of our business. And so it was a message we wanted to get across to a lot of people. And so we brought in experts to give tips and advice on a healthy business and a healthy you, how to find that, how to maintain that. And one of our experts was Nellie from corpnet.com. She's the CEO of Corpnet. We are lucky enough to have Nellie as a regular contributor to our blog, and she is a wealth of knowledge. So I'm going to hand you over to her for just a moment so she can just introduce herself. Nellie, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and a little bit about CorpNet, that would be great.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be participating on this webinar. A little bit about myself. I'm an entrepreneur, mother of 4, small business expert, author, and speaker, and I'm also the CEO of CorpNet.com. CorpNet provides document filing services to new and existing business owners who want to start a business, whether it be setting up as a sole proprietorship, incorporating a business, setting up as an LLC, or if they want to register a trademark or manage an existing business by keeping it in corporate compliance. We provide all those business filing services to anybody in all 50 states. We're located and based out of California, Westlake Village, California. And really our goal is to be a one-stop shop for business owners and really assist them with taking out the hassle of having them do all the paper filings that are related to keeping their business in compliance or starting a business, and taking that hassle off their plates so that they can do what they do best, which is, taking that business, launching that business, getting it off the ground, and really growing that business.
Right. And that's for the article, right?
That's great, Nellie. Thank you. So we're going to get started with just some questions. We had some pre-submitted questions about surrounding the 2 blog posts that Nellie wrote for us this month. So her 2 blog posts were why you should incorporate and how to make it happen. And then the second one was mastering small business, and she talked about business structure, where to launch your business, and business licenses and permits. So we're going to go through some questions that kind of talk about that information and summarize some of that for our viewers here. So just to get started, we're going to talk about incorporating. So Nellie, what are the perks of incorporating for a small business? What exactly does that mean, and what do you get out of it, especially in the small business realm?
So really the benefit of incorporating a business is for asset protection, and really the main benefit is to separate your personal assets as a business owner from the liabilities and the assets of the actual business. It creates a corporate shield, and it separates yourself as a small business owner from the business by creating this corporate shield. And really the main benefit is for liability protection, so that God forbid if your business is sued by any third party, they can come after and go after anything that's within the business, but they're prevented by coming after you personally and going after your house, your retirement, your savings account, your car, anything that you own personally. So in light of how easy it is these days to incorporate your business online with the numerous online resources that are out there, in addition to my company that provides the service, we recommend incorporation as really a starting phase for a small business owner, and for someone to really consider incorporation as one of the starting phases in their business, because no matter how small you are, if you're going to be starting a business that's going to be making a profit and it's going to be successful, you may want to consider going the route of incorporating or forming an LLC, because number one, you'll get that liability protection, and then in addition to that, there may be other tax benefits that are available to you as a small business owner by setting yourself up as a corporation or LLC. And then last but not least is that credibility factor. When you add the LLC or Inc. to the end of your business name, people are going to want to do more business with you, and they're likely going to want to do more business with you because they've seen you taking the time to get yourself legitimized. So chances are they're going to look at your business as a legitimate business, and they're going to want to do business with you.
Great, thank you. So I just wanted to mention, I forgot to say in the beginning, that I'm going through and asking these pre-submitted questions, and then after that, we're going to take questions from our attendees here. So as we're going through, if you think of any questions, feel free to write them in the chat, and I will get to those after I am answering my questions. So to continue with that, you touched on this a little bit in what you just said, Nellie, but our next question was, at what stage should an entrepreneur incorporate? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. So, in light of how easy it is these days to incorporate a business or set up an LLC with the numerous document filing companies that are out there, including our company, CorpNet, I think a small business owner should definitely consider incorporating no matter how small they are. And again, the benefits outweigh the costs, and the costs these days are literally under a couple of $100 depending on the state that you'll be setting up with. So whether you're a social media consultant, a stay-at-home mom running a home-based business, or a landscaper, consider incorporating your business because the benefits outweigh the costs. You get that liability protection, you get that added privacy, you get that added credibility, and we're almost approaching that tax time during that year again, so there may be additional tax benefits that are available to you by being incorporated or formed as an LLC.
Great. So if we decide then to incorporate, can you kind of walk us through the different steps or the different routes that we can take to incorporate, and then also touching on where should I choose to incorporate? You mentioned different states and everything like that.
Okay, so there are basically 3 different options available to you as to how to set up a corporation or LLC. There's a ton of lack of awareness out there in that mostly people think that a corporation or an LLC can be set up by an accountant or a lawyer, and that's not the case. Really, the 3 options is you can choose to go have a lawyer set up a corporation or an LLC, or go to your accountant. You can do it yourself by doing the DIY method, or you can choose a reputable document filing service such as the one we provide here at corpnet.com to take care of the business filing for you. Again, going to the lawyer, we don't recommend that. I'm a graduate of law school. My husband is admitted to the California State Bar, so we have attorneys in the family. And again, I'm not a licensed lawyer, but I went to law school, and attorneys use our services as well. So we don't have anything against attorneys, but in order for someone who's just starting out to pay those horrendous legal fees to start a business, we don't really recommend doing that. We recommend you saving that money and really using that money when you really need sound legal advice. So going the attorney accountant way to me is not really a sound option for a small business owner just starting out. If you're one of those small business owners who is very organized and can really take the steps, follow the guidelines that are provided to you by a state to do it on your own, then go for it, and you'll save a ton of money, but you'll still have those state filing fees to pay. But that's another option you may want to consider, is to doing it yourself. We often find that when small business owners try to do it themselves and go the DIY method, it tends to get hairy. They come and get into obstacles, and there's mistakes made. So in my opinion, it's always best to use a reputable filing service who does this on a daily basis, who has really, really tight relationships with the states and can take care of this filing for you error-free and get it to you quickly and affordably. And so those are the three options that are available. And you can go online and literally, search Google. You'll see probably hundreds of thousands of companies that provide the services that we do. However, just make sure that you go with a reputable source and really that fits your needs. The one thing we find about our service is that, we've been in the industry for over 20 years now, and, I've probably started and sold multiple businesses, probably about 7 or 8 or 9. I don't know, I lose track, but I'm considered an expert in this field. So the people that work for me in my call center are also experts, and that can really, really guide you, hold your hand, and walk you through the process at a fraction of a price that what an attorney or an accountant would charge you, or what our competitors charge you.
Great, thank you. So switching gears just a little bit here, we're going to talk about kind of getting started in business. My next question for you is, what are the most popular business structures, and how do you decide which one is right for your business?
That's a great question, and I know that before this question you had asked where should a small business owner set up, so I will get to that after I answer this question. As far as the question of, okay, I'm a small business owner, I'm starting out, and I'd like to know which business structure is right for me and my business. And that's really one of the main questions that we get, in addition to where do I set up now that I know my business structure. In answer to your question, really for a small business owner, there are two business structures that really apply to a small business owner. It would be the LLC or the S corporation. We don't recommend the C corporation because, again, you have that double taxation that goes with the C corporation, and for a small business owner, we want to try to save them as much money as possible come tax time. So for those small business owners who want to be, involved with the business, be set up on payroll, and be an employee of their own corporation, the S corporation is a great way to go, as long as the small business owner qualifies. There are strict requirements with the S corporation. However, if a small business owner can qualify, the S corporation is the way to go, because you get that double taxation avoidance. It's a pass-through tax entity, so all the profits and the losses of the corporation get passed through and are reported on the individual shareholders' tax returns. And again, an S corporation starts off as a C corporation by filing articles of incorporation with the Secretary of State's office, but then with the IRS you make an election to be treated as an S corporation by filing Form 2553, so that the IRS, for purposes of taxation, treats you as a pass-through tax entity. So you're avoiding paying that double taxation that would normally be, that would normally be the case with a C corporation. Because with a C corporation, you pay once taxes on the corporate level, and then once the shareholders get paid out by the corporation, they have to again pay taxes on the income they receive from the C corporation. So with the S corporation, it basically gets rid of that a second taxation. You avoid paying that tax on the income that the corporation pays. You only pay it once at the individual level. So for those small business owners that can qualify to become an S Corp, because there are strict requirements that are placed by the IRS, one being that you have to be a resident of the U.S. Or a citizen of the U.S. And other requirements are there can not be more than 100 shareholders, and there can only be one type of stock, in addition to some other requirements, one being the deadline, which is coming up, which is March 16th this year. But if you can qualify, the S Corporation is a really great business structure for a small business owner who can qualify. And plus, as a small business owner, you can list yourself as an employee of the corporation, which is not the case with the LLC, which I'm about to cover. So the LLC is the other type of business structure that a small business owner would definitely be capable of setting up their small business under. The LLC stands for the Limited Liability Company, and again, it's one of the hottest entities out there these days, because I call the entity, you get to have your cake and eat it too. Bottom line is, with the LLC, you get the liability protection that's afforded to you by a corporation with all the limited formalities. So, with a normal S corporation or a C corporation, there's tons of corporate formalities that a small business owner has to comply with. Minutes, bylaws, initial annual report filings, resolutions, a ton of paperwork. With the LLC, really, it's just the operating agreement. That's the agreement that binds all the members of the LLC together, plus filing your compliance filings on a yearly basis, which is your initial report, annual report. So with the LLC, it's great for any type of business owner. Everyone can qualify to become an LLC. You can be an out-of-state resident and still set up an LLC in the U.S. And really, for those small business owners who are considering going the LLC route, there's not real big disadvantage to it. I would just recommend you talking to your tax advisor or CPA, because the only thing with the LLC is that you may be subject to higher self-employment taxes, and with the LLC, as a member of the LLC, you cannot list yourself as an employee of the LLC. So my recommendation to you is check with your accountant, tax advisor, and see which business structure may be best for you and for your taxes come the end of the year. And then in addition to that, if you're still unsure, we have a great tool on our homepage of our website called the Business Structure Wizard, which it has been created by attorneys and accountants. It'll take you through a series of questions, and then it will recommend a business structure for you at the end of the interview, and which could definitely benefit you if you're still unsure as to which business structure is correct for your small business. Now moving on, the next question that was asked is, now that I know that I'm starting a business and I know the business structure, what state, where should I set it up? This is often a very, very, very popular question that we get amongst our clients, and really it's because of the fact that there's this huge hype about incorporating or setting up your LLC in the state of Nevada, Delaware, or Wyoming, because of the so-called tax savings and lack of state income taxes. Well, the general rule for any small business owner who's trying to set up, the general rule is that you should set up your corporation or LLC in the state that you're actually physically located, your employees are physically located, or the place that you're actually physically transacting business and accepting consideration for your services. And here's why. Although Delaware, Nevada, or Wyoming may have favorable corporate laws, again, those laws are for those people who live in Delaware, Nevada, or Wyoming. If you have no business or no physical presence in those states, you have no business setting up your corporation or LLC in those states. And here's why. Because if you do, you're subjecting yourself to two states' laws and regulations. And come the end of the day, when you walk into, for example, let's say you set up in Delaware and you're really in California and operating a business in California, you go and you walk into a California bank to set up the bank account. California is going to be like, well, where are your articles of incorporation for your corporation or LLC in the state of California? You're going to need to qualify that now Delaware, Nevada, or Wyoming corporation or LLC that you originally set up now in the state of California. And now you're subjecting yourself to two states' laws, requirements, filings, and fees. So again, as a general rule, for any small business owner with less than 10 employees, consider incorporating in your home state where you're actually physically located, where you're actually conducting your business and accepting consideration for your services. And for more information on this topic, I've written a lot about it, even on Mogul Mom blog, or you can come to our website and check out our resources center for more information on this topic.
Thank you, Nellie. That's great. Okay, so my last question that I have for you, if anyone has any questions that they'd like to be answered, you can go ahead and pop them into the chat. And after this next question, we will go through those questions and ask Nellie your individual questions. So my last question for you, Nellie, aside from anything that's already been mentioned, what do we need to know about business licenses, DBAs, or registered agent services?
Very good question. So think of business license, so I'm going to break it down because you've asked about three different filings in one question. So let's take it one by one. So let's start with business licenses. A business license is basically, the way I try to explain it to my clients is, how you get a license to drive a car, where a business license is just merely a license to operate your business. Okay, so there is a ton of confusion between business licenses and a corporation and LLC, and I'm so happy that you asked the question because I'd like to clear up the confusion here. So when a person starts a business, they have to first set up the structure, the foundation of the business before they can operate the business. Okay, so there's a two-step process here. When we're talking about setting up the foundation, the structure of a business, we're talking about the sole proprietorship, which the filing that goes with that is a DBA, or doing business as filing. Okay, we're talking about corporations, S corporations, LLCs. Those are all related to setting up the foundation or the structure of a business. Now, we did not cover DBA, so I will do that right now. There is an additional business structure that's out there. It's called a sole proprietorship in the case of one person running a business, or a partnership if it's two or more people running a business. Okay, and the way to bring a sole proprietorship into existence is by filing what is called a doing business as filing. With a sole proprietorship or a partnership, you do not get any liability protection. You, as the small business owner, are doing business under a fake business name, and hence that's where the doing business as filing, or DBA, comes into play, because you have to file what is called a doing business as, or a fictitious business name filing, to have, for example, Megan Barnes doing business as Mogul Mom, or yourself doing business as, running a webinar show, or running a social media firm, or a publicity firm. Okay, and if you do not want to incorporate the business or set it up as an LLC, and you really just want to operate the business not under your name but under a fake business name or a fictitious business name, then you would go the route of setting up and filing what is called a doing business as filing. So again, setting up the structure of the business, we're talking about sole proprietorship, partnerships, S corporations, C corporations, LLCs, which I covered earlier in this webinar, and now the DBA filing, which is the filing to bring a sole prop or partnership into existence. Now, moving on, once you have the business structure set up, you need to actually get a license or a permit from your state or local county to actually be able to operate the business. It's like when you go to buy a car, you buy a car, but you have to have a license to operate the car and to drive the car, you know? So with a business license, it's completely a separate area of discussion. The business license is basically the small business owner applying for the right to be able to operate their business once their business is set up. And again, we provide this service in all 50 states, in all counties through CorpNet. You definitely want to make sure that for your business entity or particular service that you're offering, that, you know, whether you need a business license or a permit or not, because chances are if you need one and you do not get one, you can be subject to heavy fines, penalties, and ultimately they can come and shut down your business. So again, with business licenses and permits, it's a step that's done after the business is set up, after the structure, the foundation of the business is set up. And a business license or permit is merely the right, the permission to be able to operate that business once that business is set up.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, now if you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat. That was the last question that I had for Nellie. As we wait and see if we have any more questions, Nellie, do you have any thoughts to just wrap up? Any main points you want to emphasize or additional advice you want to throw out there?
I just want to say that, you know, it's been a pleasure being on this webinar, and for those of you who followed me or, you know, have, you know, seen my content on the Mogul Mom, I'm always accessible through email or direct message through Twitter. And for any of you who have additional questions as to how to get started, you know, how to find that passion. You know, you have an idea, you really don't know how to get started and how to get that business launched off the ground, just message me or send me an email through info@corpnet.com, and I will make sure that, you know, we can help you and assist you and point you in the right direction.
Okay, well, it doesn't look like we have any more questions for today. So thank you so much, Nellie, for being here. It was a pleasure to have you, and you brought a lot of insight to, I think, a very difficult aspect of running a business. So we're so glad to have you. And then thank everyone for joining us. It was great to have you, and have a great day.
Have a great day. Take care.